What's up guys, core flexion exercises happen in the sagittal plane of motion. I have my knee crunches as the baseline. If that's a little hard, I have sit-ups as a regression. If that was too easy, I have my double med ball throw crunches as a progression. Now for my anti-rotation exercises, I got half side planks with the resistance band trying to pull you down, but you're engaging your core. You're keeping that core tight to resist against it. You place your elbow underneath your shoulder, you grab the band and spread your arm out, and then maintain that position for at least 30 seconds. And then as a regression, you can keep your hips down on the ground. By doing this, you're creating a shorter lever, and then again do the same exact thing for at least 30 seconds. And then as a progression, you get in a full side plank with both arms extended out, hips are completely off the ground, and then maintain that position. When my athlete is ready to jump, he's going to drop down into a quarter squat position, swing his arms forward, and finally push his feet off the ground onto the box. And then from a quarter squat position, he's going to stand up and step back down again. And this was the basic 18-inch box jump. There are 3 different phases in a box jump. The first phase is known as the loading phase, which is when you drop down into a squat position, as you can see in the picture. Your heels shouldn't come off the ground during this phase at all. In this phase, the knees are flexed in the sagittal plane of motion. The quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the glute muscles are the primary working muscles in this exercise. In this position, the hamstring muscles are the agonist muscles, while the quadriceps are the antagonists. The hamstrings are now working to basically load power into your legs to be utilized in the next phase. Phase 2 is known as the exploding phase, which is also why this exercise is classified as a plyometric exercise. As you swing your arms forward and start pushing off the ground with your feet, the quadriceps is now the main muscle group working, allowing you to extend your knees and finally jump off the ground towards the box. Moving on to the last phase, which is known as the landing phase. So as I've mentioned before guys, I'll be focusing more on the knee joint. When you initially land, you should be in a squat position with your knees flexed just to reduce pressure off the joint. The knee is considered a hinge joint, meaning it can flex or extend with a very slight degree of medial and lateral rotation. And a quick tip guys, try to avoid hyperextending or locking out your knees, especially if you have joint laxity and hypermobility, or in other words, your knee can go beyond the normal ranges of motion. That really puts a lot of pressure on the joint itself rather than the muscle, and that could really set you guys up for an injury down the line. And now that I've explained all the basics of a normal box jump, I'll show you some regressions or easier exercises than a box jump that you guys could start with and build your way up from there. Good. For my knee dominant unilateral, I have the single leg heel touches as my baseline, which can be a little challenging. So as a regression, I have the Bulgarian split squats. And I also have the normal split squats. They all target the same muscle groups, except that the Bulgarian split squats and the normal split squats are in a more stable environment, so it makes it easier for you. And for those of you who found these exercises to be too easy, my progression for you would be the single leg squats. These horizontal pushing exercises targets a lot of different muscle groups in the upper body, but primarily focuses on the pectoralis major. The modified push-ups will be my regression for the TRX presses, and then we have the clapping push-ups as my progression. For the vertical push, I have alternating dumbbell press as my baseline, as it requires more balance to stabilize the dumbbells throughout the whole movement. That being said, my regression will be the normal dumbbell presses. Last but not least, my progression will be the Arnold press, as it shifts through two different planes of motion, which are the sagittal plane of motion, and then it goes through abduction to the frontal plane of motion, and it goes through adduction back to the sagittal plane of motion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.